This is the Andu Kedei Show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the show, of the podcast. Today, we are going to react on another Bleacher Report article. So, I really enjoy doing this. I don't know why. It's enjoyable. It's nice because I like to share my opinions about specialists and NBA analysts say. And today's article is called "The One Player Every NBA Team Needs to Target This Offseason." So first of all, just to clarify some things, this is the first time I'm reading this. This is the first time I'm seeing this. This is the first time I'm reacting to this. So I have not read this before. So without further ado, let's go right into it. First of all, as always, it's going to be in alphabetical order. So the Atlanta Hawks, Derrick White. And this makes a lot of sense because they said that they want to... Basically, they have a lot of money. And they said they want to, or at least there are rumors that they want to add those veteran players, especially like those wing players, like Derrick White. He's a solid wing player, above average player if you ask me, and a good defender to go along with Trae Young, who is one of the worst defenders in the league. I mean, he's trying and he will improve 100%. But so far, so good. His defense is not that good, and Derrick White could help that. And he's an excellent player. Boston Celtics, Miles Turner. Yeah, so I know I've seen this before. So yeah, this is probably... So here it does not mention if the player should be targeted via trade or via free agency or sign and trade or yada yada. So I don't know. I mean, I think Derrick White is not free agent, right? Or if he is, he's a restricted one, I'm pretty sure. Miles Turner, yeah, I've seen a lot of potential of fake Miles Turner trades. Especially this one to Boston because it makes sense. Everyone says that the Celtics need the center. Miles Turner is the center. He can space the floor. He can block shots. He's incredible. So yeah, it makes sense. He would fit probably. And this would be via trade. Now, Brooklyn Nets CJ McCollum. That's interesting. So, in my opinion, if they somehow can get CJ McCollum, they probably would have to give Dinwiddie, LeVert a first round pick. Maybe even more than that. But boy, McCollum would fit perfectly. He would fit amazing on probably most of the teams, but he would fit perfectly with KD and Kyrie. He's a shooting guard. He plays off ball. He's a shot creator. He can create shots for himself. And he's an amazing 3-point shooter. He shoots it from the mid-range. He can dribble. He can slash. Boy, this would be scary. If the Brooklyn Nets do this move. The only problem is that they would get really thin with their bench. And we all love the Brooklyn bench. I mean, apart from the reason that they have KD and Kyrie, their bench, I think is a solid reason for which they will probably win the East. They have a lot of bench depth and a lot of good players there. Charlotte Hornets, Montrezl Harrell. So yes, Montrezl Harrell is one of the biggest names in this year's free agency class. I don't know why Charlotte will do that. I mean, yeah, I don't see why Charlotte would do that. Is he from the area? If he's from the area, yeah, it could make sense. And he's a player who has a lot of energy, so I think it would fit. I mean, let's face it, the team is terrible, and maybe an energy booster would probably be their best player, or right up there with Terry Rozier. And yeah, I think he can contribute, and he can be very good for that team. Probably would be the starting center, not the sixth man as he was with the Los Angeles Clippers. But the expectations are very different, and he will be in a very different scenario from what he was months ago. So it would be interesting to see that. Chicago Bulls, Daniel House Jr. Why is this such a good fit for the Bulls? I mean, I think there are 200 or maybe more players that are more fitting than Daniel House. I mean, to replace Otto Porter Jr., who will probably pick up his option, I don't know. I mean, Daniel House can defend and can hit some threes, but so if they do this, the Bulls would have to trade for him. What are you willing to trade for Daniel House is my question, because yeah, Daniel House is that kind of player that can play on every team. He's a 30% free throw shooter, 3-point shooter, sorry, and he's a good defender, I think. So yeah, I mean, I would rather see him in playing for a contending team, not the Bulls, but whatever. Let's move to the next one. Cleveland Cavaliers, Derrick Jones Jr. Yeah, same thing. I mean, Derrick Jones Jr. has not played in the NBA Finals, I think, or if he played very few minutes. He has not played in the playoffs so much. Yes, he's an explosive dunker. He seems to be like that good locker room guy who brings the energy, kind of like Montrezl Harrell if you want. But I don't know how much change can he bring to Cleveland. Because yeah, in Cleveland there needs to be a change. Obviously, they suck ever since they traded Kyrie and LeBron left. So he will not be the second coming of LeBron James. He will not be the second coming of Kyrie Irving. He will not be in their top 3-4 best players. So I don't know. He will fit because as I said, he's a player that will fit probably on every team, but he's not a player that will instantly make you a contender or something like that. So, I don't know. Let's move on to the next team because yeah, this is more interesting. So Dallas Mavericks, Goran Dragic. So Dragic is 35 or he'll be 36 I think next year or this year. I don't know when his birthday is, but I know he's pretty old. So but he played great. He was the leading scorer for the Miami Heat in the playoffs. And unfortunately, he suffered an injury in the game 1 of the NBA Finals. But he would fit perfectly with the Mavericks. Because, look, the Mavericks really have an appetite, if you want, for international players. So, first of all, the best international player of all time is it Dirk Nowitzki? I think he is. So, yeah, he played there. He won a chip. Now they have their two best players who are, I would say, I don't know, top 25, 30 players in the league. In Doncic and Porzingis. So they would get another. They have Boban Marjanovic. Now they would get a perfect six-man. Jalen Brunson, who was the point guard six-man, played great last season. Dragic would be a terrific update. And to be that coordinator, that floor general of the bench, if you want to take another, and if you make some other moves, yeah, Dallas would be a lot better. I really like this one. And it will be via free agency. So, and I think the Dallas Mavericks have some money. At least have money for Dragic, who will probably not be such an expensive player. Denver Nuggets, Bradley Beal. I think like I've seen this before. Because, yeah, the Nuggets have a terrible point guard and center, so they would need a wing player. Bradley Beal is a name that is speculated. There are rumors of Bradley Beal traded for since John Wall went down 2 years ago. So yeah, it would instantly make them a much, much better team, and he would fit in perfectly with Murray and Jokic because Beal is also a young player. He's 27 years old. I mean, he's not that old. He's coming off a 29 or 30 points per game season. I don't know how many he averaged, but I know it's a lot. He has something to prove. He has been snapped off all NBA teams, All-Star game. And if somehow the Denver Nuggets can trade for Bradley Beal without giving up too much, instant contenders. Instant. Detroit Pistons, Christian Wood. Yeah, so basically they are saying that they should re-sign Christian Wood because he showed tremendous upside this season. He's a free agent. Drummond is gone. Maybe they can trade Blake Griffin. I don't know. But I mean, he had a stretch. I don't know how many games. He averaged like 23 points and 10 rebounds. Yeah, it's mentioned here as well. So yeah, it would be a big thing if they can resign him, because if you want to trade him, you have to trade him for something. They have his rights, I think. So if he will just walk for nothing, it would be a shame for the Detroit. Next is Golden State Warriors with Paul Millsap. So Paul Millsap is a veteran. Yeah, he can still contribute, and he's old. But I don't see him as that veteran that was Andre Iguodala. I think you would rather have Iguodala now than Millsap. Am I crazy? And I think also that Paul Millsap contract, he has one more year left on his contract, if I'm not mistaken. And his salary is like 30 million. So how the heck are you going to get him? If I'm wrong and if his contract is expiring and he's a free agent, if the Warriors can sign him for a minimum deal, yeah, do it. For a veteran minimum, do it. But otherwise, don't pay him that much, because he will not be contributing as much as you want. I would rather have Christian Wood. 100%. Yeah, obviously he will be more expensive, but I don't know. Maybe the Warriors can acquire another player like Paul Millsap. Houston Rockets, Nerlens Noel. So this is interesting because yesterday there were reports that the Philadelphia 76ers are pursuing James Harden. I expected that to happen, even though it's not true. I expected the rumors to happen because, as I said the last episode, Daryl Morey is now the president of basketball operations for the 76ers organization. And Daryl Morey said that James Harden saved his life. So why not do the same thing and save James Harden's life in Houston and bring him to Philly, and maybe he will have an easier path to the NBA championship. I don't know, but yeah, if Houston doesn't have any money, so if they want to acquire a center like Noel, do it. He's the center basically like Clint Capella that can rebound the ball and score in the paint and defend in the rim, but nothing else. So it's a good thing if they go the same way. Indiana Pacers, Chris Boucher. So this is interesting because, oh wow, that's impressive. I had no idea that he won G League's MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in 2018-19. But he was impressive last season with the Raptors, even though he didn't play as much. He showed, as I said, tremendous upside. He would fit with a team like Indiana if they want to trade Turner and make Boucher a starting center. I think he would fit with Sabonis. But I think they will need to do a trade because I think he's still under contract. And if the Raptors want to give up Chris Boucher, they will probably need a lot of things because he's a young player with tremendous upside and potential. So yeah, fitting wise, he would be a good fit in every team. But we will see. And yes, the Indiana Pacers need to do something about the Sabonis Turner situation because it's weird. And they're both good players, but they would probably rather have Sabonis, and Boucher would be a great fit with Sabonis. Moving on, we have the Los Angeles Clippers, Steven Adams. So Steven Adams, I know for sure that he's still under contract. So they would have to acquire Steven Adams via trade. If they let go of Montrez, what are they? They would have to give even more picks to OKC, but I don't think they have any picks left. Maybe one first round picks in the next 5-6 years. What would you do in order to give up Steven Adams? Because I don't know if the Clippers will the Thunder are obviously headed to rebuilding mode. There is no question about that. So if you want to go, if you're in a rebuilding position, you want either picks or young players or maybe expiring contracts. So yes, maybe the Oklahoma City Thunder are willing to take up some bad contracts from the Clippers in order to acquire Adams, but they will need a pick or a young asset. I'm not sure this will happen. These trades are hypothetical and fake, but I don't know if the Thunder will give up Steve Adams for few things. I think Steven Adams would fit with Kawhi and PG, and he would be a great fit overall on that team, but it'd be hard to trade for him. Let's move on. Los Angeles Lakers, Derrick Rose. Yeah, so there were rumors about this dating to last season, at the beginning of the last season, that Derrick Rose would somehow end up on the Lakers. And yes, I think he would be a great fit. Derrick Rose was he in top 3 in 6-man considerations? I don't know, but he was an amazing player for the Pistons last season. Obviously, the risk is high. He's now old. He had all those gazillions of surgeries on his knees. So his health is an issue. I think he has like $10-12 million on his contract. So I don't know. If Rondo is available, I would rather have him because it worked. But if somehow I'm losing Rondo and Bradley or KCP, I don't know. Yeah, I would try to trade for Derrick Rose. He's obviously, I don't know if he's the better player than Rondo is. Because what Rondo does so much you don't see on the box score. But I will try to do this. If my players are leaving, if I will be the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think the Lakers have future picks to give to the Pistons because this would need to be via a trade. He's not a free agent. Memphis Grizzlies, D'Anthony Melton. So yes, the Grizzlies don't need to rush into things, but this young kid, D'Anthony Melton, he played great for the Grizzlies. I had no idea he's a free agent and they need to bring him back. And look, if the Grizzlies wait 1-2 more years to develop and for Ja and Jaren Jackson to get better, yeah, I think they will be contenders in 3 or 4 years with those young teams that are now. So yeah, I think it's important for them to sign D'Anthony Melton, especially because I think they have the money to do it, and it will not be so expensive to do so. So yeah, Grizzlies, go take care of your guys. First of all, Miami Heat, Drew Holiday. This would be interesting because if somehow the Miami Heat will trade for Drew Holiday, they will probably have to give up Hero Robinson or Nunn or Derrick Jones Jr. and some future picks. So are you willing to do that? Who would you rather have right now, Tyler Hero or Drew Holiday? I think Drew Holiday is the answer. Even though Tyler Hero had a stellar performance in the playoffs for a rookie. I don't know. If I'm Miami, I'm not doing this. If I'm Miami, I wait for Giannis. Or if not for Giannis, I don't know, maybe another free agent, or I made some other trades because Miami exceeded expectations this season. No one expected them to, or at least few people expected them to be in the NBA Finals. And it happens sometimes when you exceed expectations. In the next season, or the next 2 seasons, you will be worse if you're running it back with the same team. So I honestly don't think this will be the case, but it could happen. So I'm not. Yes, they need another wing defender because Dragic is not that. If they want to bring him back, Tyler Hero is not a good defender. Duncan Robinson, we'll not talk about that. So they don't have Jimmy Butler to guard the perimeter player, but you see the Lakers. I mean, not the Lakers because Bam can guard and try to guard Davis, but for teams like the Clippers or the Rockets, okay, you will guard the Harden, but Butler will take care of Harden, but will take care of Westbrook if they stay the same. Or okay, maybe Butler will take care of Kawhi, but who will defend Paul George? So Drew Holiday could be that second wing defender and a playmaker and a terrific player. But you will see how much are you willing to give up to trade for him. Milwaukee Bucks, Victor Oladipo. Yeah, I think I've seen this one before too. So Oladipo has 1 more year on his contract. If you trade him and he doesn't want to be there, you will probably get 1 year of him, and that's also, if you do that, you will need to make sure that he's healthy and he's willing to win and he has a win mentality. Things that did not show so much in the playoffs, in the bubble. So I don't know, I wouldn't pursue Victor Oladipo if I were Milwaukee. I will try to get other players, honestly. Minnesota Timberwolves, Malik Beasley. So yeah, this is another situation where it's about taking care of your guys. Beasley played terrific in Minnesota. It says here in the article, through 14 games, he averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, shooting 42% from the 3-point range. He can be a spark plug of the bench for them. So yeah, Minnesota, go take care of your guy, man. Because you've seen that this is how the Lakers did. Take care of your guys first of all. They brought back McGee. They brought back Rondo for this season. KCP is there since a long time ago. So take care of your guys first of all. New Orleans Pelicans, Brandon Ingram. Yeah, I agree with this. So if they traded AD and somehow Brandon Ingram walks away now, it will be terrible because they traded for, they got some, and they have some few picks from the Lakers, but other than BI, who had an exceptional player, he was the most improved player. Phenomenal season for him. He was an all-star too, right? Wasn't he? Whatever. Even if he was not. The Pelicans are a young team. They now have a new coach, and I'm excited honestly for that team. You could see how BI struggled with the Lakers. He was incredible this season with the Pelicans, and he can only get better starting from here. So I think he will be the best for now if he stays there for at least, 2-3 more years. Now, New York Knicks, Chris Paul. I really don't like this because if the Knicks... So the Knicks... There are Knicks memes everywhere. Knicks stuck up the joint for 20 years. Since Patrick Ewing Day. If they want to win, or if they want that Madison Square Garden, that superstar player, like they had Carmelo. They came close. I don't think Chris Paul is that guy anymore. Because he would He wouldn't have anything on that team. Julius Randle, yeah, Mitchell Robinson showed some promise last season, but I don't know. I wouldn't do it if I were the Knicks to try to trade for Chris Paul. He has a massive contract. Yes, I will get the. He will probably be the best player Knicks had since Carmelo. But and I don't think he will put them into a playoff contention. I mean, he might, but the AFC the best. I don't see that Knicks team. I don't know, be better than the Orlando team, honestly. Or no, I'm thinking about who was the 7th, 8th seed this season. I know Brooklyn was, but the expectations are clearly higher. No, I don't see. I don't see him. I don't see that making sense. And the Thunder would probably want some young players. Who would you trade if you're the Knicks? Kevin Knox? He's a young player. He showed no promise whatsoever. Frank Ntilikina, same. Dennis Smith Jr., same. RJ Barrett will give him a pass. It was his first season. But other than Mitchell Robinson, none of those young players had shown promising signs. Oklahoma City Thunder draft picks. Yeah, so this is ironic because, they traded Paul George to Clippers, got a 5 or 6 picks. Then they traded Westbrook to the Rockets. They also got, I think, 2 or 3 picks in there. So they are loaded. They have a gazillion of picks. Promising young players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Even Lou Dort. You saw how close he was to hit the dagger to defeat the Rockets. That would have been incredible. Darius Bazley. So yes, as I said earlier, they are clearly going into a rebuilding mode. And make sure you draft right. This would be the first advice I would give them. Orlando Magic, DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, I'm thinking about this one because the Orlando Magic are one of those teams that you don't know where they are headed because they have some good players, but they don't have players with superstar potential like the Nuggets, like Dallas. And yeah, they've been in the playoffs recently. I don't know exactly how many times, but I remember them being in the playoffs. This season, I think last season as well. Or I don't know, doesn't matter. They have Vucevic, who's a good player. They had Fournier, who was a promising player, but hadn't played good for a while. Aaron Gordon is there. They have Markelle Fultz. So, and I think DeRozan is a free agent. So if they get him, they will have to pay him. So, how much are you willing to pay him? I think DeRozan would be a better fit on a team that needs, I don't know, maybe like Miami, but if you can sign him for few money because he's one of the few players that still hit the mid-range. He can't shoot threes, but Miami has Hero and Robinson, so they don't need necessarily a three-point shooter. But if somehow DeRozan, you can have him on the bench with a lot less money, do it. Sixers, Buddy Hield. So this would probably make sense because the Sixers need a three-point shooter and Buddy Hield is more than that. He's a more than capable three-point shooter. He's a shot creator. He averaged 20-something points. I'm sure of it for the Kings last season. And you hear that he's not returning phone calls to his coach. So yeah, the situation there is weird. And if somehow he gets traded, Philly is a good place. But are you willing to trade Harris for him or Horford for him? Because there is no other way you could do it because he's locked up. He secured the bag. Buddy Hield. So you need to trade for him. And you need to trade for him a player, either Al Horford or Tobias Harris. I honestly would do that if I were the Sixers and if I were Daryl Morey. And this is the risky trade that general manager like Daryl Morey would do. Now, I'm excited. I'm excited. I really want to see this happening. If they can't get James Harden, I would want Buddy Hield to end up here. And if you're the Kings and you're trading Buddy Hield, please trade De'Aaron Fox because I love him and I don't want to see him in that miserable situation. Or at least do some interior changes. Phoenix Suns. Why did I say it like that? Sorry. Phoenix Suns, Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant is the kind of player that would probably fit on every team he plays. He played very well for the Nuggets in the bubble, and I think the number one priority for the Nuggets would be to re-sign him because he's a free agent. So I think there are better players that would fit with the Suns. Chris Paul, John Wall. Even though I have not seen him play, I would love to see John Wall with D-Book and DeAndre Ayton. Moving on to the next team, Portland Trailblazers, Danilo Gallinari. Yes, this would be a perfect fit. I think they can get him for cheap. He will probably not be that expensive. He played for the Thunder this season. He played good. He didn't disappoint, but he's not a max player contract. And if somehow they can get him for cheap, do it because he will be a great fit for the Portland Trailblazers. Kings, Bogdanovic. Yeah, so this is another situation where take care of your guys because he's an excellent player. He was a sixth man at the beginning of the season, last season, and he somehow began starting games. They preferred him. Buddy Hield that we mentioned before. So, yeah, go take care of your guys, man. But take care of your guys, take care of Bogdanovic, and take care of Buddy Hield as well. San Antonio Spurs, Aaron Gordon. So, San Antonio... Wasn't DeMar DeRozan the player that they said Orlando should target? Yeah. So if you do this trade, I mentioned already the part to DeRozan to the Magic, but if you're the Spurs, are kind of like the same team. I mean, they have some young players with potential. You see, DeJounte Murray, Derek White is not that young, but he's a good player. And maybe if you can draft well, as they always do, and add some role players like Gordon, maybe in 1 or 2 years they can be again in the conference semifinals, Western Conference semifinals, or even the finals. But right now, I don't see this trade making a lot of sense, so I would pass on that if I were the Spurs. Toronto Raptors, Fred VanVleet. Yes, exactly. Take care of your guys. The worst thing that can happen to you as a team is if you have a player, especially a good player, and you lose him in free agency for nothing. If he doesn't want to be there anymore, make sure that you somehow trade him. Because if they would have, let's say Fred VanVleet doesn't want to be there anymore. If they would have traded him, he would be targeted by a lot of teams because he's an exceptional player. So a lot of teams would probably be willing to give a lot in order to get Fred VanVleet. Moving on, we have 2 teams left. So Utah Jazz, Justin Holiday. Justin Holiday is a role player. I don't know why the Utah Jazz necessarily target him. Yeah, he can shoot. He can be the shooter of the bench, but if I were the Utah Jazz, I would target better players. Stars. Or even players with superstar potential, because it seems like that Mitchell and Gobert are not enough. So go get another guy, Utah. And the last team, Washington Wizards, Davis Bertans. Another situation of go take care of your guy. Yeah, so for probably he will not be that expensive for the Wizards. He's a great player. There are a lot of teams that will probably target him. So yeah, if he doesn't want to be there, make sure you somehow arrange a sign and trade. I don't know. Don't let him go for nothing because he's a good player. and you traded for him. It's not like you signed him. So you wanted him. Take care of him. Let's see how John Wall plays this year when he comes back. I'm so excited for that. And make sure you take care of him. In other news, so done with the article. The NBA is really pushing for that December return. It will probably happen. I'm sure it will happen. I really want to see Washington Wizards playing that first game day of the new season. I'm really excited for him. We have not seen him in 2 years, and I think I know people forgot how good he was. So bring back John Wall to the Wizards. I want to see that. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're listening this on YouTube, and follow me if you're listening this on Spotify. There will be more episodes coming this week. Take care of yourselves and peace out!